Third chapter, countdown. The first rays of dawn spilled across the Kronos megayacht, glinting off its steel sides and the rolling ocean beyond. Inside the ship's vast hangar, all eyes were on the sphere, an obsidian craft pulsing with untapped power. Uniformed engineers rushed across the deck, tablet screens in hand as they performed final checks on the sphere. Its sleek hull thrummed with mounting energy pulsing under the high-intensity lights. A sense of charged expectation filled the air. Atlantis was more than legend, and the Metromite crystal within it promised to revolutionize humanity's future. Jeff, wearing a Kronos executive jacket, stood at the entrance to the sphere's ramp. He raised a hand, signaling the engineers to pause, and turned to face Miles, Kira, Theo, Lena, Jace, and Damon. "Listen, everyone," Jeff began, his voice echoing through the cavernous hangar. "This mission is more than an expedition. It's our chance to deliver clean, limitless energy to the world. If you bring back the Metromite, we can fight climate change, expand access to power, and accelerate the transition to a new energy era. Atlantis is real. The crystal is real. Our fate hinges on your success." He locked eyes with Miles. "Good luck out there. I believe in you." Miles inclined his head, swallowing the knot of nerves in his throat. "Thank you, Jeff. This is the greatest adventure of my life, and we'll see it through. When we come back, the world will never be the same." Kira stepped forward, placing a steady hand on the sphere's hull. "The ship's ready. Let's give the planet a fighting chance." At that, Jeff and the remaining engineers backed away, ascending to an upper observation deck. They clustered behind reinforced railings, prepared to witness the sphere's launch from a safe distance. The team exchanged a few last glances, then filed up the ramp into the craft. Inside, the sphere's lights glowed in concentric pulses that matched the negative energy drive's rising hum. Kira slid into the pilot's seat, exhaling shakily as she placed her hands on the shimmering controls. The others strapped themselves into seats behind her. Damon checked weapon seals by reflex. Theo and Lena skimmed final data on holographic displays, and Miles braced himself beside Kira. Jace, harness in place, flashed a grin that was half humor, half raw nerves. Jace tightened his harness with a mock grimace. "Just so we're clear, if we pop out in some wrong century, I'm blaming you, Kira, not me, and definitely not Aina." Kira rolled her eyes. "You can blame me all you want, Jace, but if you don't like 9600 BC, I can always make a quick detour to the Jurassic, just for you." Aina's calm voice chimed in overhead. "Negative energy drive at 80%, ready for final coordinates." Miles leaned forward, nodding at Kira's central holo display. A digital globe spun beneath her fingertips, a beacon flashing near the Canary Islands. "So, that's our anchor point?" he asked. "If the city's off the coast of the Canary Islands, we should be seeing submerged ruins, right?" Kira, shaking her head. "Not this time, literally. We're jumping back to 9600 BC. Atlantis won't be underwater yet." Miles's heart thumped, equal parts excitement and dread. "All right, let's do this." The lights in the hangar dimmed as the sphere drew massive power from the yacht's reactors. Outside, klaxons sounded for final evacuation. From the high observation deck, Jeff and the engineers looked on with tense faces. Below, the sphere began to glow with an otherworldly emerald aura. Aina's voice broke in, resonating through the cabin. "T-minus 20 seconds to launch." Everyone's pulse quickened. Kira double-checked the readouts. A ring of vibrant blue light formed around the sphere, humming like a distant storm. 19. Theo gripped his seat, mind swirling with half-forgotten texts about Atlantis. 18. Lena frowned at a spike in quantum energy. "We're approaching max capacity," she muttered. 17. Damon scanned the overhead monitors, every sense on high alert. 10. Miles glanced back at his companions, unable to speak around the lump in his throat. 9! The craft's hum ascended to a roar, floor panels trembling underfoot. 8! Jace set his jaw, tension lining his face. 7! Kira's hands shook, but her gaze stayed locked on the displays. 6! A metallic groan rippled through the hull. 5! Green arcs of electricity danced across the exterior plating. 4! Lena inhaled sharply, murmuring something like a prayer. 3! Damon braced, jaw clenched. 2. Miles squeezed the armrests, lungs tight. Kira's fingers hovered over the final command, her breath slow and controlled. She had trained for this moment, rehearsed every possible scenario. But this was real. The weight of it pressed down on her shoulders. One mistake, one miscalculation, and they wouldn't just be lost in time, they wouldn't exist at all. For a brief second, her grip on the controls tightened. She could hear her mentor's voice in her head. "You're not just piloting a machine, you're steering humanity into the unknown. Don't screw it up." Exhaling sharply, she shoved the hesitation aside and hit the command. "1, jump!" Aina intoned. Kira slammed the final command. The sphere exploded with emerald radiance, sending a shockwave rumbling through the hangar. In a blur of twisting light, the craft shimmered, then vanished. A concussive whoosh rattled the deck, scattering tools and forcing onlookers to shield their eyes. Up on the observation deck, Jeff and the engineers stood motionless, hearts pounding. The space where the sphere had been lay empty, lit only by the dying embers of ionized air. Up on the observation deck, Jeff and the engineers stood motionless, hearts pounding. The massive screen that had displayed the sphere's countdown now showed only static. Jeff remained still, his face unreadable. The entire Kronos team held their breath, waiting for confirmation, waiting for anything. Then, slowly, Jeff's fingers curled into a tight fist at his side. For a moment, his jaw clenched, his mask of composure flickering. He had just sent them across the barrier of time itself. There were no guarantees, no second chances. If they failed, everything, Kronos, Metromite, the future he envisioned, was gone. Under his breath, too low for anyone to hear, he muttered, "God help them." Then his expression hardened once more and he turned sharply toward the technicians. "Keep the anchor stable. I want real-time monitoring on any fluctuations. If anything changes, I want to know before it happens." The room snapped back into motion, but the tension lingered because no one, not even Jeff Steele, knew if the sphere would ever return. They were gone, propelled toward an ancient city hidden beneath the sea, chasing the Metromite crystal that might save the planet. The final countdown ended in a burst of impossible light, and the most daring expedition in Kronos history had truly begun.